Hi there, welcome to the second part of my self-assessment of my swing motion. Today just going to have a look at the 3D motion capture of my swing. So I've took one here of my pelvis and thorax and club. So we've got the little skeleton guy here who's just going to give us a visual representation of my chest and pelvis, and then I've picked a couple of graphs on the right, just a couple of the main things in my swing that is causing me to come to the conclusions of what I need to change in my particular swing. On the ones, what I want to look at first is the pelvic position and the thorax position. So that means if it's moving, the things that move from one place to another, and it's measured in centimeters. So whereas orientation would be in degrees, sort of things like rotation, this is in centimeters because it's moving from one place to the other. The first thing you're sort of looking at here, we're looking at pelvic sway. So to the plus, which is above the line, and away from the target is a minus. So if we roll through the initial part of my backswing, what we start to see is the blue line and the pelvic sway going down a little bit up at the top here. And then what that means is that my pelvis is swaying towards the target. So away, yeah. So when I do that, initially, you can see it's moving away from, so it goes a little bit away first and then goes towards the target. Now the thing that on the bottom that I want to show you is the thorax sway, which is just the chest. So on the bottom, what we see is the thorax really moves away from the ball as I take the club away. So when we look at 3D motion capture, what was really useful with this is that now we can sort of plot and see. I mean, this one's very obvious, but it can be a little less obvious. But now what I can see is I've got it on the top here, a comparable graph, and what it shows me is what's the first thing that's moving out of position. And so that's really the first thing to break down, which in this case we've got the red is thorax sway and the blue is the pelvic sway. So if we run it forward again, as we see, so in the initial part of the takeaway, a little bit of pelvic sway away, but not too much. It's within a reasonable parameter. But the thorax is starting to move. That's quite a considerable amount away from its original position, and getting up to a maximum just over 6 centimeters away from its starting point. So that's quite a lot. So because that's the first thing, and because it's doing it a lot more than the pelvis, definitely start to work on understanding a bit more about why that thorax wants to move away from the ball in that takeaway. And that's one of the first things that I'm going to be working on in my particular swing. So next week we're going to have a look at my ground force data. So we're going to have a look at that, and then we'll put it all together in the final piece and come up with a plan to improve my game.